changes that have happened in the way we're consuming news and distributing it, that I'm quite sure that this is definitely the way forward. News is broken online. Stories are being created and generated online as well. And if you look at commenting, for example, comments are basically the exclusive domain of the online community. And this is what's really exciting for me. So, what is the now revolution? Oops. Nope, not yet. So press forward to go forward. Easy enough. So, what is the now revolution? In traditional media, television, newspapers, for example, are focused on what has happened, right? So, in newspapers, you find stories about what happened yesterday. In television, you see stories about what happened today. So the difference with online, of course, is that now it's all about what's happening now. News isn't about what happened, it's about what's happening now. And this is the biggest difference that we're seeing online. But there's more. News is now social. And this is a big, big game changer for the industry. The best way to describe it is this. If the news is important enough, it will find me. So take a few seconds to think about that one. If the news is important enough, it will find you. So how many of you use Facebook and Twitter for your news? And how many of you use Facebook and Twitter exclusively for your news on a daily basis? Wow, an honest one up here. So, plenty of changes here. Whoops. This is what we call the news journey. It's about how news is being discovered, consumed, and redistributed. Now, this model really hasn't changed very much, but the way that we're actually doing these things have changed quite dramatically. People are discovering news through different ways right now. Obviously, Twitter is a big way. Facebook, online news, for example. Consumption is probably one of the other bigger areas that we've seen a huge shift. So people are consuming it on screens, small, big, mobile phones. But really, the biggest change is in the way that we've redistributed our news and the way we talk about it. So what was the water cooler conversation at the office has now shifted online. And that's where all the chats, conversations, discussions are all happening. So really, the basics haven't changed as far as journalism goes. And by this I mean, we're still talking about critical thinking, great storytelling, getting the facts right, building credibility, understanding what's news in your local markets. So none of this has changed as far as journalism goes. So what's different today? First, in the way that we're talking about news. So this is actually, a number of people have come to me and gone, oh, by news tracker, do you mean that everyone's just sheep? Of course not. The fact is, every modern journalist working online needs to see the conversations, right? See the conversations, build a dialogue, get people talking and moving in a certain direction. And this is one of the core skill sets that you'll find needed in a modern online journalist. We're talking about basically a community manager, someone who connects audiences, someone who uses their own personal brand to get people talking, discussing, coming up with ideas. Someone who is obviously, most importantly, trusted. So the personal brand has suddenly become one of the biggest game changers as far as journalism goes. So that's one. Second, the modern news journalist is a multimedia storyteller. Someone who thinks in terms of photos, videos, illustrations, uses the right elements at the right time, and delivers a very compelling experience across all platforms. And I think one of the best examples of this would be what the New York Times has been doing. If you look at what they did in terms of figuring out the demographics of voters and what voters are talking and thinking about, that's a great changer right there. But also, the multimedia storyteller isn't all just about multimedia as we know it, but also in terms of adopting new tools that have come to the fore. So, how many of you are using Foursquare?
What?
Just one, Foursquare. Okay, well, take my word for it. 1 year from now, Foursquare is going to be a journalism tool.
What's
Foursquare.
Foursquare. Making a huge difference up there, I'm sure. So, let me see. Getting ahead of myself here. So, what are the implications for the way this election is going to be covered? And this is what we want to get at today in this conference. We want to talk about how news is being discovered, consumed, redistributed, and how we can do that as responsible journalists. And we have a very distinguished panel of journalists and academics who will be able to take you through this. But what I want to leave you with are 8 tips on how best to cover the election. Number 1, get the basics right? Be quick, but be right. Learn to shepherd the community. Learn to build a personal brand online. Learn to guide and see the conversation. Learn to be a community manager. Listen for trends. Figure out what people are talking about. Every time you go to Twitter and you see rising trends or trending higher or anything, one of these kind of words, in each of these is a story in itself. And figuring out how to turn those into stories is one of the greatest skills that you'll accomplish as an online journalist. Open as many doors as possible for engagement. You got to realize that the audience is coming at you from all different angles, right? It's not just a homepage anymore. It's not just your blog. People are discovering you through your tweets, through what you say on Facebook. So make sure that you open as many doors as possible. Learn about SEO. Figure out how you can be discovered. Build a personal brand, but more importantly, build a trust in the community. And also, last but not least, think across different media. Work as a multimedia journalist. Learn Flash. Learn how to create diagrams and illustrations to tell a story in a very simple way. And these are going to be things that I think will change the way we cover the elections. Thank you for your time.